Welcome back. I'm Darryl from Select Driving School. So today we're going to have a look at eco-safe driving. So the aim today will be to try and show you some techniques that are going to allow you to save money when you're driving and also to drive in a much more safe and controlled way. We're going to do a route. We're going to do it once, driving relatively normally, and then we're going to do it again. And that second time through, we're going to make a lot more effort with trying to think about where we could save fuel. Hopefully by the end of it you'll be able to get an idea as to the benefits of doing this and how it can be achieved without really costing you any time. And also it's not particularly difficult. It's going to make your driving smoother. Your passengers are going to be a lot more comfortable in the car with you. You're going to save money on fuel, but more importantly you're going to reduce wear and tear on your car, and you're going to really save money at the garage. If you don't know, a new set of tyres for even a small hatchback like this is going to set you back around about at least £150 and over £200 if you go for some of the premium brands. Brakes, brake discs, suspension components, just the annual service, everything is going to be a lot cheaper and a lot less in need of replacement if you try and drive smoothly, as I'll show you in this little video. So let's get going, have a look at some figures, and then I'll come back to you at the end of the video and discuss what we... Okay, so we're about to do the first run to see what kind of economy and average speed we'll achieve if we just drive relatively normally. I'm not going to particularly try to drive economically on this round, but equally I'm not going to be herring off either. I'm just going to drive in the same way that many people would be. In fact, to be fair, probably slightly more gently than a lot of people would. But we'll see what kind of figures we come back with. Okay, as you can see, the numbers were just reset. So we're going to start the engine up now and just set off. So we're going to be sticking to the speed limits. Now the speed limits for the majority of this journey are actually going to be 20, and I'm going to just try and highlight a couple of places where maybe I could have saved fuel. So for example, I'm driving up towards this car, could have slowed down a little bit before I got there, but instead of sort of driven straight up to him, I've sort of rushed. If I'd had to stop there I would have been wasting fuel. So we're going to stick on the speed limit. Around about 20 miles an hour around here, so currently using second gear, which means that I am giving it a little bit of gas. Third gear may be better around here, but because it's a little bit twisty, a lot of people are going to drive around here on the second gear. Next time round we might try it on third. Still sticking to that speed limit, which is just 20 miles an hour. So I'll point out where I may be not driving as economically as I could on this run. We're coming up to a roundabout now. So what a lot of people may do, they'll start signalling early. It sort of turns to the left, and a lot of people are going to rush up here and then stop. And then they're going to look and realise that they could have kept going. So it's wasted some fuel there by having to stop and get going again. Here, again, still sticking on that speed limit, still using second gear, which, you know, again, will be what a lot of people will do because we're not really able to go over the speed limit, or they may go over the speed limit and get it up into third. Next time around we'll see whether the car can cope with third gear on some of these ascents, which may save a bit of fuel. So coming up to the roundabout, going to be turning right, just hold the signal until we get past that junction. Again, coming up to it, slowing down a little bit later than we could have done, although on that occasion I haven't actually stopped. And then we're going to go left here. Again, a lot of people may come to a stop here, but if we look early we can keep moving. So we're into 30 now, so let's get it up to speed, get through those lights. See another set of lights, they're on red, They're not showing any signs of changing, but again, a lot of people are going to drive up doing 30 miles an hour still, and then at the last minute they're going to slow down and realise that yes, they do actually have to stop. Again, we could have managed that a little bit more gradually. We could have been slowing down from further back by easing off the gas pedal, letting the car take itself up. Yes, we'd have still had to stop, but we wouldn't have been rushing to stop. We'd have been driving more gradually up to it. Now the other place here, I'm looking around and I've got, you know, a lot of cars around me. Only the stop-start cars will have switched their engines off. I could have switched the engine off there to save some fuel because we were stopped for a good 20 seconds or so. I didn't on that occasion, so that again is an area where fuel has been wasted. So now coming up to the roundabout, we're going to go ahead second exit. Staying off the white markers, off the white paint, and then we're going to carry on down here. Now we're coming downhill here. At the moment I'm off the gas, so we are in third gear, trying to keep it to the speed limit. So the car's holding itself around about that limit without me really doing much at all. But because I'm using third, every so often I may have to just put my foot on the gas. Now what a lot of people might do is to knock the car into neutral, thinking that they could save fuel that way. So we've done that now. The car's actually running in neutral. I haven't got as much control over the car as I really should have. And what's actually happening now is, as I say, a lot of people believe this is saving fuel, but the reality is it's not really saving fuel because the car engine is having to pump fuel into it in order to keep it running. The better way of going down here would be in fourth gear with my foot off the gas and the clutch up, because what would then be happening is the engine would be getting turned by the wheels and we'd be using no fuel at all. By having it in neutral and allowing it to coast down, we're creating a more dangerous situation because we haven't got as much control over the car and we're having to use fuel to keep the engine running. So we should see that when we come round on the next run through. So we're going to go left at these lights. It's only a 2-mile route this, just over 7 or 8 minutes long. Again, we've been here for a good few seconds. Potentially we could have turned the engine off and saved some more fuel. If you turn your engine off for more than 6 or 7 seconds, you will save more fuel than it costs to restart the engine in a modern car. So again, another 20 speed limit. It was 30 down through the lights that we've just been through, but now it's 20, so keeping it at 20. And again, rather than trying a higher gear, I'm just doing it on second, so we are going to be wasting some fuel here. Going to get overtaken in the moment by the looks of it. And he's holding back now, but he's driving very closely to me. The 20 zones do create a lot of frustration for people, especially on roads like this where, you know, it's hard to justify keeping it at 20, to be fair. It's a wide road, it's not particularly busy, we're not near any schools, but the council have decided to enforce this 20 limit, so we do tend to get people who will try to stick to it, and then other people who feel as though they're being held up will start driving very closely as the car behind me is currently. Best thing is just keep an eye on your mirrors, don't brake suddenly, make sure you spread everything and keep it nice and safe. So we've got a green light here. We're going to be going left at the lights. See whether we get through it. We're going to get through it. That's going to have helped a bit with the old economy side of things. And then we're going to climb this final ascent back to where we started. So around about that 20 mark. And as we climb here, the fuel economy figures are dropping because the car is having to pull itself up this hill, which is always going to be less economical than being able to drive on the flats or the downhills. So we're going to pull up on the left where we started from. Okay, I'm going to turn the engine off there and we'll move the camera so we can see what figures we got. Okay, so those are the figures for the first run. 55.3 miles to the gallon. It's a 2-mile route and we've averaged 19 miles an hour. So in a moment I'm going to get the car going again. We're going to redo the route and I'm going to try and employ some of those techniques that I mentioned on the first run to see whether we can improve that figure. Just as a little challenge, I've never done this before myself. I've done the route several times with pupils, and the best that we've got so far is a record held by a pupil of mine called Zoe, who's managed to do over 67 miles to the gallon on a second run through, taking advantage of some of the tips and techniques. Okay, so we've reset the trip info and we're going to go for round 2 now, trying to employ some of those tips and techniques I discussed. Again, I'll highlight them as we go along. Okay, so we start the engine and off we go. So first things first, we can see the traffic lights up ahead are red already. So what we don't particularly want to do is to reach those traffic lights before they change. They've gone green, so we're going to come up to them nice and steadily. That's unfortunate, they've changed back before we've got there. So we're just going to try and slow the car down, see if we can just keep it moving. I think it's not really going to be possible because we're that close to the lights now. So we're going to have to just stop here gently. Again, we haven't rushed though. Hopefully the lights won't be red for too long. They've changed. So again, we're going to set off nice and steadily. As soon as we make our turn, get the car straight up, very gentle acceleration into second gear, and as I said, down here we'll find that the car will actually take third gear. So we're going to go into third gear, still sticking to that 20 mile an hour speed limit, but now what we find is that once we just get over this small crest here, we don't need any gas at all. The car will still stay at the 20 mark. Now we're doing 19 miles an hour, 1921, that's the sort of range we want, bang on 20. The car's just sort of taking itself around now, no need for hardly any gas until we just sort of reach a slight incline where a gentle amount of gas is going to keep us going. Now as I say, for this roundabout here we're going to be going left, so what we're going to do is to prepare nice and early. So centre mirror left, mirror signal left, getting into second gear and then first gear, and I'm already checking the roundabout to my right. I can see it's clear, so I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep the car moving again nice and gently back into, I'm going to stay on first gear because we have the guy in front of us turning round. So again, I don't want to stop the car. Most fuel is wasted getting the car going, so the number of times you can reduce stopping, you're going to really save fuel. Some of those other sort of tips that people talk about, like switching the air conditioning off, reducing the amount of weight in the car, yes, they'll help a little bit if they're convenient for you, but the biggest savings are going to be through gentle, well-planned driving and trying to keep the car moving as much as possible so that those unnecessary stops are eliminated. So again, coming up a very slight incline, we've got the car in third gear, we're hardly using any gas at all, the car's staying at the right speed. We're going to be going right again, so centre mirror, right mirror, drop the car back into second gear, because trying to go around the roundabout in third will be a little bit of a struggle. Looking early, we're not having to stop, checking to the left as well to make sure no one's doing anything daft. Signalling left, looking to the right, Again, it's clear, we don't need to stop. Keep the car moving. Into the 30 zone. Quickly up into third gear. Gradually accelerating up. Not going to have to stop for that traffic light. Getting the car up towards the speed limit, but now we can see the queue, so I'm already easing off the gas, letting the car drop down to its own natural speed, initially in third gear, dropping it down to second gear, keeping the car moving, seeing whether or not we can cheat those traffic lights. Looks like we're going to get lucky. So we're going to be going left. Queue's starting to move in front of me. I haven't stopped to drop down to 10 miles an hour. But we're making the turn now. Again, looking to my right because that's where the traffic could come from. It's clear. Now we have a learner in front of us. They may affect our performance. So it's turning off left, so that means we're going to be able to go down here and get up to the speed that we need. So we're coming through the roundabout, we're going ahead, second exit, again staying well off the white marks, and then picking up our speed up into third. Possibly could have considered a block change to fourth there, into fourth gear, off the gas. Car's already up to speed, 29, 30 miles an hour. Not even going to touch the gas pedal down here. Could even consider fifth gear. Lets the revs drop down a little bit further. As I said earlier, it's almost makes no difference at all as long as you're not on the gas pedal. So in fifth gear, the car is doing 30 miles an hour. I'm not touching the gas pedal. My foot's just covering the brake pedal just to stop it picking up too much speed, because in fifth gear it will want to go a little bit faster and the hill will allow it. So just on the brake, over the brake should I say, just to stop that happening. And we can see a red traffic light in front of us, so a little bit of braking, because again, remember, we're trying not to stop. So don't want the car to labour, dropping through the gears. I can see the traffic moving over from the right hand side, so I know these lights are going to change in a second, and we should be able to get through them without stopping. There we go, a little bit closer than we'd hoped. Dropped it down to just under 10, picking up again. This time we're going to make that block change straight to fourth gear, so second to fourth, picking the speed up, back to the speed limit, 30 miles an hour. So we're coming down to the traffic lights, going to be going left of these lights. Again, they're on red, so just slowing the car down. Dropping it into third gear, still not used any gas. It's a whole mile down since we left the roundabout without touching the gas pedal. Car's already in third gear. I know my car, I can take this corner comfortably in third gear. And then I'm going to stick in third gear back into the 20. Staying on third gear. Just maintaining the speed limit. 19 to 21 miles an hour is my suggested target for you in a 20. 29 to 31 in a 30. It's very hard to keep it bang on any given speed, and what we don't want to be doing is driving on with our eyes glued to the speedometer. There's a lot more important things going on around us that we need to be observing. So have a glance every so often, trying to keep it no more than a mile an hour either side. We don't want them going too slow, but equally we don't want to be going too quickly. So we can see the traffic lights come at the green. We want to be considering whether they'll change, so we're seeing what's going on behind us. They have changed, gone to amber and red, signalling left. There's a chance that they may change quickly because these lights do tend to favour traffic that's coming towards us, but because somebody's on the other lane, they are on the other road, they are allowing that traffic through. So again, just easing that car very gently. Again, we haven't quite stopped. So turning left, Gently getting the car back up to the speed limit on this section, which again is 20. Probably not going to be, let's try third gear there, see if the car can just about pull, which it can. So very gentle on the gas pedal, seeing what kind of figures we can produce. So we're doing bang on 20, stopping point is approaching. Just after the bus shelter, so signalling left, going to a stop just there, and engine off. So those are the scores on the doors. An average miles per gallon of 70.5. So sorry Zoe, I've taken your record from you. But 17 miles per hour, slightly slower, but that's really because the traffic lights weren't in our favour. On the first run through, we didn't really have to stop much because the traffic lights were with us. But this time we've been a little less clean, but we've still managed to achieve only 2 miles an hour slower over it. So that was the end of the drive, and hopefully you can see some real proof there in terms of the figures we achieved, from the mid 50s all the way up to 70 miles to the gallon, which was around about, rough maths, about 30% saving in fuel. So putting that into terms, if you could achieve a 30% saving in fuel economy all the time, if you're spending £100 a month in fuel now, you're going to reduce that to £70 a month. But as I said earlier, your real savings are going to be at the garage, where you're going to be spending a lot less on maintenance of your car. So just a quick recap on what we did. We looked ahead, we looked out to see what the traffic was doing, what traffic lights were doing, and we tried to maintain a speed that would mean that we wouldn't actually have to stop the car. If we did have to stop, we were going up nice and steadily to it, we weren't rushing up to a stop. We made sure that we got into a good high gear as soon as we could. We didn't sort of drive along in too high gear, so we were labouring the engine, and equally we went into lower gear so the engine was revving and using excessive amounts of fuel. Also considered whether we should switch the engine off when we were at stops. I don't think we actually needed to do that today because we didn't end up in any stops for too long because we were planning and looking ahead. But had we been at the King Cross lights for any length of time, we could have switched the engine off. We'd have saved money, but more importantly, we'd have reduced our impact on the local air pollution in the area. If you consider at any time we've got about 30 cars queuing at those lights, they're all running their engines, so if you lived around there, I'm pretty certain you'd find that the air quality wasn't as good as you'd like it to be. So let's consider these things when we're driving. And finally, what you're also going to find is that if you try to drive like this, you're going to be a lot more relaxed. You're going to arrive wherever it is, not stressed by other traffic. You'll have let things take their course naturally, and you'll get back home and or to work in a good mood and not stressed by your drive. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, click like. If you've got any more requests or anything you'd like to see, then please contact me via the website or via YouTube. Until next time, it's Darryl saying goodbye.